Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I actually admire that you can actually be this fake. And like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. You're the scum of the earth.
The audacity admit I couldn't do it. The art said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Leveling. Half a pound. Headshot dead. That's it.
There's guys out there that are doing this day in and day out. They live and breathe this stuff that they don't get the recognition or credit that they deserve.
Is the secret to fighting?
Not being a fucking pussy. Honestly, you can teach anybody how to fight. But like, if you're a fucking pussy, that's a really hard thing to teach someone not to be.
All right, we are back with part 2 of episode 54. We will be doing the overview for this next upcoming fight night. Jack Hermansson versus the man, Joe Pyfer.
Bodybagz Pyfer, baby.
When I say the man, we're just fans, you know? We're just fans of Joe Pyfer, the Bodybagz himself. So, but yeah, Murky, I know where we kind of left off on the last, on part 1, we were discussing that middleweight division, which is kind of a good segue into this fight night because it is headlined by 2 middleweight killers. And this is going to kind of shake some things up because now we, you know, it's kind of a good segue from where we left off last in part 1. So, you know, we were discussing, you know, what's next for Imavov, and then we went on a fucking argument of Jared Cannonier deserving a #1 contender fight and Marvin Vettori being a bitch. And I just wanted to throw that in there. Vettori, you're not a bitch, but
yes, he is. It's fine. I fucking second that.
And then Brendan Allen, you know, what's next for him? You know, that kind of division's a little bit, you know, it's a little conjambled right now. And then now we have Joe Pyfer headlining this main event for his big opportunity to get himself into the top 10.
Top 15. He's unranked.
Well, Jack Hermansson's number 10. So you beat a 10, you take a rank. So
you would think. Yeah,
I think it's normally how it goes. So normally when you beat the rank, you take the rank is at least how it should be, I think. But so we got Joe Pyfer versus number 10 Jack Hermansson, and then that right there can set up a bunch of fucking lateral movements in that middleweight division. So however you want to play this, I'm down to play it. However, it's not the greatest fight card of the night. I know you wanted to headline and talk about, you know, the main card and then the co-main. I guess we can touch on a couple of the low level fights that I was kind of interested in. Before we kind of jump into talking about those, I am kind of excited to see Max Griffin, Jeremiah Wells. I know Jeremiah Wells was supposed to fight a few last year at some point. He was supposed to fight, I believe, Bo Nickel, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think that was
because I think he was supposed to fight Bo Nickel and then he got hurt, and then
that was Gore. That was Gore.
Oh, Gore. Sean Gore. That's right. Then who did he fight? Jeremiah Wells. I feel like I know the name. Like, oh, you know what? Jeremiah Wells he trains, I believe, in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And he's trained with a buddy of ours. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. He may not train there now, but he did at one point.
Yeah, he's a Philly dude. Renzo Gracie, Philly.
So I'll have to ask, but I'm pretty sure that Jeremiah Wells trained with one of my buddies for a minute because I remember him telling me something about him. And
he's fighting out of Renzo Gracie, Philly now. At least, you know, that's what it says.
Cage Fury is where he came from.
Oh yeah, that's a local Philly thing.
That's
a local
Cage Fury? So maybe he isn't. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, that's the local scene down here. That's where Sean Brady came from as well.
Cage Fury? Okay.
Yep.
I'll have to ask him, man. I'm pretty sure that Jeremiah Wells is a buddy of his, or at least has trained down here at because we have an AKA down here.
Right.
So I think that there's a lot of big fighters who have trained down here at some point in their career. So
a lot of them kind of jump around. But I mean, he's older, man. He's 37.
Yep. I mean, so is Max Griffin. 38. So both of these guys are up in age. So I mean, but Max Griffin, you know, he's been around for a while, and I think this is a good fight for Jeremiah Wells. So I can't wait to see that fight. Let's see, who else do I like? I want to see a redemption for Michael Johnson. I want to see him get his redemption after getting completely knocked the fuck out in his last fight. So hopefully he can get that. And then now when we kind of get into the last 4 fights, I'm really intrigued by Brad Tavares and Rodriguez. You know, that fight right there has in the distance potential, first round finish potential. It's going to be a good fight. One of these guys are going out. It's just a matter of who it's going to be. Rodriguez is good on the ground and he has power. Tavares is a good striker and he has power as well. So I'm really intrigued on this fight. This is one of my favorite fights in the main card, actually. So that's one I'm really excited to see. I know Tavares is a underdog, but I think he does have the potential to win this because we've seen Rodriguez get knocked out as well, even though it was against a guy who has a lethal right hand in Bruno Ferreira. So that's what I'm really interested in. But yeah, man, you talk what you want to, and we can kind of go off that co-main and main.
Yeah, let's because I just think, I mean, you know, no disrespect towards any of these other guys. I just like this is one of the weaker fight nights. We've been blessed. Like we've been absolutely blessed as fans for even these fight nights have been incredible. And, you know, chances are I'm going to be pleasantly surprised by this one too.
Sure.
There's going to be, you know, probably some crazy fights on the undercard and on the main card that are way better than I would have thought they'd been. But yeah, I mean, I think the real story is this main event. I think this main event puts this whole thing on the map. You know, Joe Pyfer, Jack Hermanson, right? So Jack Hermanson's ranked 10th, which you said. Joe Pyfer's unranked. So you're looking at a guy in Joe Pyfer that is, you know, trying to break into that top 15, top 10 potentially. You know, he's on a Joe Pyfer again is a Philly guy, so he's near me. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He's also on a 5-fight finish streak.
Yep.
You know, he's a Dana White Contender Series fighter. For people who don't know about Joe Pyfer, he trains out of that Sean Brady camp as well. He was a Dana White Contender Series fighter twice. The first time he went on Dana White's Contender Series, he got I think it was a shoulder injury, dislocated his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Considered never to fight again, was thinking of giving it up. Homeless, living in the gym. All the same stuff we talked about in the first part of this episode with Thembo, right? Or Themba Gyambo, like just really down bad but fucking like a savage animal, just chase this dream. And now here we are. Now you're knocking on the door to the top 10 in the greatest organization in the world.
Sure.
And it's well-deserved. 5-fight win streak, 5-fight finish streak. Came back, won convincingly in his Dana White Contender Series second appearance, got the UFC contract, you know, and has been on a roll ever since. This is a big step up in competition for him, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is you're fighting the number 10 guy. This is gonna, you know, this is one of those like separates the men from the boys, right? Like we're really gonna figure out who Joe Pyfer is. How for real is this dude?
Yep.
He's looked absolutely incredible. So we're gonna find out how for real Joe Pyfer is. My hope is that we find out he is legit as fuck.
I think we will.
I think we will too.
I think we're gonna see a very dominant win by Joe Pyfer on Saturday.
I think so too. I mean, Jack Hermanson, here's the little breakdown on Jack Hermanson too, for any listeners that are unfamiliar with some of these fighters. Jack Hermanson's ranked number 10. He's 2-3 in his last 5. But the losses, like this is killers, again, bro. It's like, right. So like, this is the same thing we talk about with Silva. The record doesn't always reflect the talent, right? So where did those 3 losses came from? They came from Vettori, they came from former champ Strawn Strickland, and they came from the loser of the main event last night, Roman Dolidze, who we know is a top 10 guy in that division. So, and he's got a win over Chris Curtis, Hermanson.
Yep.
So, you know, it's like, yeah, he's 2-3 in his last 5, but like, look at where he's at. Look at who he's fighting. Like this, you know, it's what we talked about at the end of part 1, and what you started this part off with is how deep this division is. Hermanson's been kind of on the wrong end of that, but he's going to be looking for a win here to keep that top 10 ranking, to stay in it. Joe Pyfer's got an opportunity. I just think, like, man, this is what I fucking live for. Like, this right here is the shit that I live for. Like, you want to keep your spot. You want to get back in the win, get back on a streak. And then you have an up and comer who's hungry, who wants to show everybody why he deserves to be with the best in the world. The motivation and the discipline for both is there. It's just who's going to come out on top, who's going to come out and do the damn thing.
Facts.
Just exciting as fuck.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that fight. I think, and we like Joe Pyfer, so we want to see Joe Pyfer win. We want to see him in that ranking. We want to see him succeed. So, I think we're both kind of on the Pyfer train on this one. We're going to be rooting for him to get that win. Hopefully by in the distance by knockout, because that's what I'll be taking on my bet.
Again, so any bettors, right? Like, this is a big level up in competition for Joe Pyfer. However, numbers don't lie, man. 5-fight win streak, 5-fight finish streak, right? So it's been a while since he's even let it go to the judges.
Yep.
He doesn't let it go to the judges.
I'm about to tell you right now too what that is looking like if you wanted to take that bet. Oh, I can't tell you what it's looking like because the lines aren't out yet.
Yeah, they don't fucking release the props for these fight nights until like the day before or something.
Yeah, losers.
Crazy. But either way, I mean, Joe Pyfer by KO TKO is probably going to be something that looks really attractive to me.
I like it.
Or maybe a parlay of fights to not go the distance. That's going to be one of them for sure. I
agree. And then the co-main, I'm actually excited about this co-main. I like it. You got Dan Ige, Dan 50K Ige versus Andre Fili.
Right.
Both guys are very similar in their fighting styles. Both are wrestlers. Fili is a good striker as well, but and he's coming off of a big first round TKO win. And Dan Ige is also coming off of a loss against Bryce Mitchell.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna. Yeah. He lost to Bible thumping Bryce Mitchell the last time in the Apex. Remember?
And that was when Bryce Mitchell did the freedom.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Yeah, he came in with the Bible all crazy.
So, but I mean, you can't take that away from Ige because Mitchell had the Lord on his side. So, I mean,
that's true.
You never fight the Lord.
I guess
man. The good Lord was on Bryce Mitchell's side that night. So
yeah, where was the Lord when he fought Josh Emmett though? That's what I need to find out.
Well, he may have sinned that day. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
maybe he masturbated to Jessica Andrade's OnlyFans. You never know.
Oh my God. No doubt.
You never know, bro. You never know. But yeah, no. He's got a redemption coming on. But he was on a 2-fight win streak. I mean, he beat Nate Lanoir.
Nate the
and
Train.
Then he had the TKO win, and then he lost that Bryce Mitchell fight. And then Fili is coming off of a big win by TKO. So this one's a fairly even fight. To be honest, I'm very 50-50. I mean, I have no
pick one way or the other.
I think we're gonna see a very not necessarily boring fight, but very similar to what we saw in Imavov and Dolidze last night. Just something like trying to and one thing I'll say this is a good time to bring this up about the fucking Apex arena. So the cage itself is smaller than normal. So it allows these fighters to back fighters up against the cage more often than none, which makes for shit. It makes for bad clinch fights. It makes for just like no true room to showcase striking. You could tell you just see it when you got guys, look at those guys were big. I mean, Dolidze and Imavov are big dudes and they look massive inside of the Apex, the Octagon.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then you got the two featherweights. I mean, these guys are going to be all over the fucking place and that Octagon. So, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of up against the cage clinch action in this fight, which is going to lead to probably a 3-round decision, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that also.
So I think that's
that
where my
probably
best
going to go the distance.
I think so too. I don't think we see a knockout in this, and not taken away from them because they both have the ability to knock people out. I mean, I like to think that it plays a big factor with the Octagon being a little bit smaller and
it does, for sure.
not allowing enough room to get certain strikes in. And Feely's a lanky guy. He's got a big reach. So he's gonna try to stand in the middle and strike if Ige wants, and he's a wrestler. So if they're gonna try to back each other in, and if they don't allow space to strike, it's gonna be, we're gonna see a boring fight.
This has similar implications as the main event. Both of these guys are kind of on the bottom of the 145 division as far as the rankings go. And like, honestly, I was looking at the 145 pound, the featherweight rankings today. It gets a little thin.
Yeah.
It gets a little thin at the bottom. Dan Ige probably loses his ranking with a loss here because Andre Feely is unranked. So he probably moves into the top 15 potentially. But both of these guys, like, neither one of these guys threaten anybody at the top of the featherweight division.
No, not at all.
It just, like, other than a top 15 ranking, which, let's not take anything away from that because, you're one of the top 15 fighters in the whole fucking world at that weight class. It really doesn't mean a whole lot as far as the promotion is concerned, as far as the UFC is concerned.
Yeah, but even then, like, the featherweight division, one of these guys. The featherweight division is in a weird spot too. When you get to like number 10, it's free game, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's really thin. It's really, really thin at the bottom of that top 15 ranking. So it's kind of like, even with these guys fighting over their spot in the top 15, I mean, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like Dan Ige loses to Bryce Mitchell, but then you see Bryce Mitchell go out and get fucking murdered by Josh Emmett, who's at the top of that division.
Yep.
Right? So it's like the skill gap, as we'll call it, right from the top to the bottom, is fucking massive.
True. Yep.
So it's like these guys specifically who are just kind of scratching and clawing their way to keep a top 15 spot. It's just,
and then it's crazy to say, but
what does
now,
it mean?
like, in that division, we're about to see likely Ilia Topuria lose two fights in a row. So he's likely going to lose to Volk, and then he's going to lose to Yair. And then we're going to see Volk and Yair for the belt again. And then Ilya is going to be pushed down to like number 7 or 6. And then it's going to be like, what the fuck are we going to do from there?
Stop.
Like, what are we going to do from there?
Oh, you're trolling. You're trolling.
So, I mean, when he loses back-to-back and gets pushed back, do we see Josh Emmett, Ilia Topuria too?
What happened the first time? What happened the first time?
Emmett's going to clean that slate, brother. He's going to...
What happened the first time?
I don't know what happened the first time, man.
Go watch that fight again and then tell me that Ilia Topuria is going to lose 2 in a row.
Oh, shit. I had to get your
blood boiling. That zero ain't going nowhere.
You had my blood boiling. I had to get yours going a little bit.
That fucking zero ain't going nowhere, son.
Oh, it is.
Go watch what he did.
The man from down under is about to show why he is the fucking GOAT of the featherweight division. And then when he beats Ilya, he's going back up, and then he's gonna take that fucking Russian's head off once and for all.
I don't think we see that again. I don't know if we see that again.
You know what I would love to see? Crazily enough, I want to see Charles versus Volk.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, it would be sick.
It'd be sick. Yeah, that could definitely be sick. Yeah, but if anybody has any doubts, because you're just a fucking casual fan like Dirty Bird is, and you ride Volkanovski's nutsack.
Dude, how could you be a hater, bro? You cannot disrespect.
Hold on a second. I'm in the middle of a monologue right now. Okay, respect me, son.
Oh, you cannot disrespect Volk.
If you're going to just completely blindly go with Volkanovski because you think that he can't lose at featherweight, you seem to have forgotten the way that Topuria treated Josh Emmett the last time out. So anybody who doesn't know, go ahead and do yourself a little Google search favor and go watch that fight again. And you'll see just how good Ilia Topuria is and why he's in the position that he's in fighting. But that's a whole different episode. Okay, we have a week. Well,
Bruh.
that'll be next week's episode.
Poirier's biggest win is over Josh Emmett and Bryce Mitchell.
Okay, it's the way that he wins, buddy. It's the way that he wins. You got to watch the fights.
And he went to a decision.
You're being a fucking computer fucking fan right now, just looking at a screen going, "Oh, he only beat this person and this person." Watch the fights. Watch the fights.
Volk knocked out fucking. Volk knocked out Yair, bro.
And so would Topuria.
And went 5 rounds with who's likely the best fighter currently on the active roster in Islam Makhachev in the first fight.
What happened after that?
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
Oh, it doesn't matter? Oh, okay. That's a whole different episode, bro. That's next week's episode. That's next week's episode.
Oh.
Because you got 298. 298 is February 17th. So we'll have this episode out tomorrow morning. Monday morning, this episode will come out, part 1 and part 2 of episode 54, and then episode 55 will be the, obviously we'll recap Hermanson Pfeiffer, I'm sure, and then UFC 298's a week away.
Yep.
And we'll get into this way more.
Ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a battle. I like the prospect. But again, listen, I'm not Volk has been one of the greatest to do it. You know what I'm saying? And realistically still probably is. So I'm not saying this is an easy to Poirier win. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying from what I've witnessed from Topuria, I think this is his opportunity, especially the way the dude carries himself. He's a fucking savage. He's a murderer. I think he can go out and beat Volk, but yeah, you're right in the fact that Volk is definitely not the one to be overlooked.
Not at all, bro.
And I do want to be clear. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. I like Topuria in it. I think he's got the skills to beat him. But yeah, Volk's a fucking beast. He's a different animal for sure. But yeah, man, I mean, that's, I think, we've got a lot of fight nights coming up. You mentioned the smaller cage. Just a couple of the other points I had was, or you brought up, can we get out of the fucking Apex?
Yeah.
The Apex became a thing during COVID, which was awesome. And I just I saw so many tweets last night during the fight night. A lot of the people that interact with us on Twitter and listen to the podcast, I saw a lot of them tweeting about it too. Can we fucking get away from the Apex already? And I don't know. Maybe it's it's probably a financial thing because it's a building that is theirs and it's probably cheap to throw the events together there. So I'm sure it's mainly a financial thing instead of having an event somewhere else. But you got a Philly guy on the main event. You got some Philly fighters on the card. The UFC hasn't been to Philadelphia in quite a long time. This could have been a great opportunity. Instead we're fucking back at the goddamn Apex with no crowd. Just not looking forward to
it. Oh man. So I just want to make a point here, man. All right. So about this whole Volk and Topuria thing. All right. So
you still want to talk about this? Even though we're going to do a whole episode on it next week. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just looking at other sports greatest of all times. All right. And what happens when a young prospect who everybody says is the best goes against those people?
Okay.
What happened when Brady went to Tampa Bay? He made it to the Super Bowl. And who did he face in the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes. And what happened? Fucking old GOAT won the Super Bowl. Don't ever fucking count the old GOAT out just because he went up a weight class and fucking lost.
It's a team sport. It's completely different. It's not even remotely the same thing.
Don't ever fucking count the old GOAT out.
What other examples? You have other examples or just that lame ass one? Because that's terrible. That's a fucking team sport. It's not even close to the same thing.
That was it.
You're not. All right. Well, okay, then let's make that relevant. Yeah. And since since we still don't have a UFC 300 main event announcement, because I don't know what the fuck's up with that. Let's just do this. We'll lock Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in an octagon together at UFC 300, and we'll find out who the fucking GOAT is.
Tom Brady.
Okay.
Tom Brady with an overhand right knocks out Patrick Mahomes and sends his ass back to the fucking awesome. Sends him to the PFL.
Oh shit.
But speaking of that, before we wrap this up,
the new UFL.
Yeah. No, I was just fucking around though. No, Ilya's a tough motherfucker, dude. I'm kind of nervous because I'm a big Volk fan. I would love to see Volk go out on top. I don't want to see him go out with a loss to Volk or with a loss to Islam and then a loss to Poirier. You know, Poirier can have his shine, but if I was Volk, if I won, I would not fight again.
You're saying go out this way?
Go out on
top. Go out with
bro.
A win?
Yeah, just go out on top, dude. You have nothing better to prove, or you have nothing more to prove. You've solidified beating every single person they put in front of you in the featherweight division. There's no reason for you to continue trying. I get it. You want to continue fighting, but all you're going to do is end up like Anderson Silva.
Yeah,
right. Let's be real here. Like jokes aside, I just fuck around with Murky because I know he likes Ilya, and I don't hate him at all. I think he's a scary motherfucker. So I mean, and he's gonna be good for the sport if he can learn how to speak proper fucking English when he gets on the mic. So we'll find that out.
It's getting better. I actually just saw, because I had just said to you the other day he doesn't speak English, and then I saw this clip of him fucking going on a rant at the press conference.
Yeah, if he can learn that, then he'll be straight. So,
yeah. So, but yeah, man, it's and that'll be next week's episode. We'll really deep dive into 298. Which everybody, you know, if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, turn the notifications on so you can be on the lookout for all these podcasts dropping. If you're an audio listener, man, they come out every Monday on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find this. And then, you know, the video version is on YouTube as well. And we'll be deep diving into UFC 298, which will be, you know, the 17th. So not this coming fight, but the one after that. So it's going to be sick.
Yep.
Robert Whittaker Costa, Volk to Poirier, Jeff Neal, Ian Gary, Merab Henry Cejudo. I mean, you know, you got Roman Kopylov, Anthony Hernandez. I was about to say Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. Well, straight killers, bro.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, we're going from this fight night that we're sitting here calling week to UFC 298, February 17th. That's just fucking stacked. Can't wait.
Can we start a petition to stop letting Daniel Cormier do in-fight interviews, post-fight interviews? He's so awkward and weird, dude. He wouldn't even let Natalia Silva sing happy birthday to herself. Like, what a dick.
Yeah. I feel like that's a tough thing. I mean, like Rogan, you know, Rogan has learned a lot, I think, over the years on doing some of that stuff. Like, he won't interview a guy after he gets knocked out anymore. He used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a crazy sport. And like, brother, you never know what the fuck somebody's going to say. Like, think about, it's different than any other sport. Like, you're in there, you know, battling with someone, physically battling with someone, going to fucking war. And a lot of the times it can be like minutes afterwards. And you have a microphone in front of your face. There's no other sport like that.
Nope.
Occasionally you'll get you do in other sports like professional football, you'll get the interview with one or two of the guys, the quarterback and the receiver who had the big game or whatever the fuck. But it's not like seconds after he just knocks somebody out unconscious. Right? Like adrenaline is still pumping crazy high. Like that's why do you think you have Octagon interviews like Moicano and Charles Racky? DC. I mean, I think he does okay, but I think he
gets so awkward though. That's what I don't like about DC. Like Joe Rogan in there, like guys, like if Moicano was like fuck this, fuck that, and DC just looked like, oh, God, please stop saying fuck. We're on ESPN. He's like, thank God we're on ESPN Plus. Like, you're a fucking loser.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think wants to sing like And he's like, oh, happy birthday, Natalia Silva. I'm walking out of the octagon, not even saying it to your face. Cause
yeah, I think that's probably a production element too, right? Like you only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
like
I guess.
you only have a certain amount of time. Like you can't just because if you didn't snatch the mic away from Charles Radke or Moicano, we may never have gotten the other fights after them. you literally would have had to pry the fucking microphone out of their hands.
True.
So, and then when you let them go, it takes time away from the broadcast and other areas.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of stuff just us as fans we don't see on the production level of an event, even like that at the Apex. It's worse at pay-per-views, right? Like it's, you're on a stricter schedule. You have more going on at pay-per-view. So I think that probably plays a part in it. And he's not been doing that as long as like Rogan has.
Sure.
Where Rogan is kind of more comfortable in there. So I think eventually, DC does pretty well on the commentary. I like, he says like dumbass DC shit, but like I've come to actually like it. Like I've come to like actually fuck with DC. Like before I really got into this like heavy John Jones fan, like DC can suck my left nut. But like the older I've gotten, the more I've watched DC, I've appreciated and become more of a fan of his for sure. And, I do like his kind of vibe on the broadcast. It's just, yeah, he's just, man, he's fucking so stupid sometimes, man, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, that kind of wraps up fight night coming up. I don't really have too much to talk about outside of that, and then we'll kind of per usual, we'll have these episodes out tomorrow, and then throughout the week, if there's big breaking news or anything like that, we'll always go live for you guys. And if you're listening to our recording now, we'll always go live, break that news, talk about it before, and then next Sunday, same thing. I do want to bring this up, Murky. I didn't even think about this. I will be out of town next week.
All right.
So if you guys do record at 2, it's just going to be you and Nasty. So you're going to have to rock it out. If you guys hold off and we record at night, I can make it. I just won't be home until later on Sunday afternoon because I'll be driving back from down south. So
we'll figure it out.
Up to you guys. Y'all choose what you want to do. I'm okay with it either way. If I miss, this will be my first episode I've ever missed on the Over the Octagon podcast. Yeah. So it'll be kind of awkward. You guys will have to deal with not seeing my sexy ass face on the camera, but
I feel like me and him have to do that just for the vibes. Like we got to do it just for the fucking, it'll be history. We got to do
Nasty?
It. Yeah, we got to do it. But like the other thing too is like I'm gonna have to call him every day. I feel like I'm gonna have to call him every day.
Hey, dude, remember
text 10 times a day. Yo, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. You're not doing. Yeah, block it off your calendar now.
Yeah, let him know. And then you'll have to babysit Nasty next week. So we'll
perfect.
We'll be good.
I'm not babysitting shit. We're getting banned on every platform there is.
I know.
But
I mean, the mediator next week. You guys will fucking rapid fire all the F words you want.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, so I mean, leading up to it, man, anybody listening, follow us on all our socials. Links are in every description wherever we post these podcasts. We're live on Instagram right now as we record. So anybody that wants a little preview into the episodes, if you're following us on Instagram, we're trying to get that to 1,000 followers. You can catch us live on there. TikTok, same thing. We go live on TikTok and Instagram periodically throughout the week. YouTube sometimes. Follow us on Twitter. Twitter's rapid firing shit off all the time, talking mad shit with everybody, showing love to some people. But whatever. So just interact with us, show some love, and whatever you need, we're everywhere.
Yes, sir. But yeah,
that's it for me, man. On to the next one.
That wraps up part 2 of episode 54. And we will be having these out tomorrow. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are on every single one, rapidly growing. We've got a lot of good things coming. Hopefully, tonight we'll spend a little bit of time. We'll have our first merch drop coming soon. And then we have a couple of announcements potentially in the works for the end of the month. So stay tuned for that as well. Murky, let's keep it going, baby. Rocking it out. We'll catch you guys next Sunday for the next episode. So we'll see you guys then.
Yes, sir.
Peace.